recently I did grief. Um, I had talked about grief. But a lot of times when I do my podcast, some of them be pre-record. Like if they have people on it, it's actually pre-recorded. So, some people may hear it before you hear it. So a young lady, Amber, she said that she said, Sonia, did you know that prolonged grief is a disorder? It's considered a mental health condition. So I tell her, nope, I did not know this. But actually, she gave me information about it. It's the diagnosis was recently added to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder as country continue to experience heightened levels of death suffering due to the pandemic. As of last week, prolonged grief disorder officially became a new diagnosis in the latest edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, which is DSM. The catalog of psychological conditions widely used by clinics to diagnose patients in the standard classification of mental disorder. Despite the nearly decade-long debate on whether grief should need medical treatment, the diagnosis became official during a time when many Americans continue to experience ongoing disasters that have caused death and suffering, such as COVID-19, reports the American Psychiatric Association. Characterized by incapacitating feelings of grief. Prolonged grief disorder happens when a person loses someone close to them, friend, family members, within at least 6 months for children and young adults, or within at least 12 months of adults, according to the APA. Typically, the grieving individual experience an intense yearning for or preoccupation with the deceased person, so much that their reaction to the loss preoccupies them almost every day for at least a month. This bereavement is considered to last longer than social norms. Think 5 stages of grief, causing distress or problem functioning in important aspects of their life, such as socially or occupationally. Other symptoms of prolonged grief disorder include identity disruption, feeling as part of yourself has died, a marked sense of disbelief about the death, avoidance or reminders that the person is dead, intense emotional pain, intense loneliness, emotional numbness, or a feeling that life is meaningless, among others, according to the APA. The circumstances in which we are living with more than 675,000 deaths due to COVID may make prolonged grief disorder more prevalent, said Vivian B. Pender, MD, president of the APA, in a news release from the association about the official disorder. So, why is it so important to understand grief during coronavirus? Inclusive of prolonged grief disorder is the DSM means that clinicians can now bill insurance company for treating people for the condition report. The New York Times, currently clinical trials are testing the drug. Sorry for that, everybody. I had another call coming in. They are testing the drug naltrexone, which is a drug used to help treat addiction as a form of grief therapy. And according to the NTY, the development will likely set off a stream of pharmaceutical research on other potential prescription, including prolonged grief disorder in the DSM-5-TR, will mean that mental health clients and patients or families alike share on understanding what normal grief look like and what might indicate a long-term problem, said Saul Levin, MD, MPA, CEO, and medical director of the APA. In the association news release, especially now, sharing information, increasing awareness about prolonged grief disorder is essential. That being said, some critics fear that the new diagnosis will cause false positive and encourage drug companies to pursue the public that they need medical treatment to cope with mourning, according to the YT. I completely, utterly disagree that grief is a mental illness. Joanne, PhD, and an associate professor of social work at Arizona State University, who operates the Salem Care Farm, a retreat for bereaved people, told the publication. When someone who is a quote-unquote expert tells us we are disordered and we are feeling very vulnerable and feeling overwhelmed, we no longer trust ourselves and our emotions. To me, that is an incredibly dangerous move and short sight. However, she said others hope that the official diagnosis will offer help to those who have withdrawn from society due to their losses, not just recently, but also throughout history. They were the widows who wore black for the rest of their lives, who withdrew from social contacts and lived the rest of their lives in memory of the husband or wife who they have lost. Paul S. Applebaum, MD, chair of the steering committee overseeing revision to the 5th edition of the DSM, told the NYT they were the parents who never got over it, and that was how we talked about them. We would say that they never got over the loss of that child. While some might argue that grief is a key aspect of the human experience and thus not a mental condition, there is no denying that the ongoing pandemic has made it so that loss and bereavements are seemingly more present than ever before. So official medical diagnosis aside, Dr. Pender, words, if you recently lost someone close to you, it's very important to check in with yourself. Grief in these circumstances is normal, but not at certain levels and not most of the day, nearly every day for months. Oh, thank you, Amber. So I did not know this. So, you heard some doctors agree with it, some doctors disagree with it. I didn't know it. But some of these that they was describing, I know, like I said, y'all heard me. When I lost my mother, I went through half of what they were saying. But, and like I said, I think all of us, when we lose people, we gonna keep grieving, even though, some of us grieve different. Like my friend Billy said, my BFF, my childhood BFF said, some cry, some don't cry. It's just how you grieve, and it may take years, may take months. It's just how the individual is. And I'd like to thank you for listening to my podcast. Please give it a 5-star review on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you listen to your podcast, please share. You can comment here at v766752@gmail.com. Please follow me at son.ia9795, Instagram, Santiago, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest. You can go to my website, http://podcasters.wordpress.com, www.avilo, use promo code Sonia, www Instacart 156. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can buy me a coffee. Please listen to my Son Sounds album. He made a new song. It's on Apple, Spotify. Please go to follow the Miss Call for affirmations every morning. Please follow Female Reform. If you're into Vicious Clothes, please follow TJ BULCIA on Instagram. Her book coming out is, Black Girl in Orange. Oh, don't forget King's Flex. He's on SoundCloud. Thank you and have a blessed night.